Okay, this is my annual video about the bus and the cafeteria and just kind of our expectations in those places. I like to include it on this day so everybody hears the same message. So let's talk bus first. First of all, just like last year and the year before that, bus drivers are very hard to come by. It's a hard job. Like, I don't want to be responsible for a bunch of young lives on a bus. That's why I am not a bus driver. And when I retire, I'm not going to be one. Um, it's a lot. It's noisy. You have a very tight schedule to keep. And the hours are kind of weird, right? Like we need you in the morning and we need you at the end of the school day. And then maybe we need you in the middle of the school day for field trips and stuff. And then maybe we need you at nighttime for like athletic events or, extracurricular stuff. You guys are very busy people. This would be a lot harder on your families if we didn't have bus drivers to bus you to different places because everybody's busy. So I just want you to keep that in mind. It's a hard job. It's underappreciated, I think, for how important they actually are to keeping everything that we want you to have the opportunity to do on track. And make sure you get there safely and in a timely manner. That doesn't always align with like your parent or guardian's work schedule. So keep that in mind. It's hard for us to find bus drivers. I don't know if you've seen around town, we're always trying to hire new ones. It makes it a lot easier for us to keep the ones we have if you are kind and respectful to them. Our bus drivers are pretty great, and if you get to know them, you will know that. The second point I want to make is that on the bus, because we are a K-12 district, that means we have kindergartners all the way through seniors in high school in one building. There are young and old on that bus. So my group, my junior high schoolers, I just always like to remind you, the younger kids are looking up to you. They think everything you do is pretty great. So if you are teaching them naughty words, if you are showing them inappropriate videos on your phones or your iPads or whatever you bring on the bus, that matters. Why are we doing that? You are being looked up to as an example of like how cool it's going to be older. And they are watching you and they are watching how you treat other people and the words that come out of your mouth. And so I want you to be cognizant of that when you are on the bus and you are watching something on your phone or the way that you are speaking to a friend. Even if they're right next to you, there might be kindergartners right in front of you and they can hear what you're saying. So be aware of that and have respect for the role you play in their growing up lives. It's never fun to receive a phone call from a parent of a younger student who has learned something new on the bus. And, things they probably shouldn't know about yet. So be aware of that. Know that you are an example, and I expect you to lead by example when you are in that space. Eating and drinking on the bus, as always, you are welcome to have your water bottle. But we don't need like sticky candy. You don't need to have a whole meal on the bus before you get home. Keep food off the bus. It's really just for like to maintain it, like to keep it clean so that the next time we use that bus, it's not gross in a place where people don't want to be. Buses, if you didn't know, are super expensive. I didn't know that before I started as a principal. It's shocking, really. So the nicer we can keep them on the inside, the longer they can last for us, which saves the district and like ultimately impacts all of us here at school. So I just want you to be aware. Water bottles, fine. Let's keep everything else in your backpack or at home, and you can eat when you get to where you're going. If you left something on the bus, it is a smart idea to come and let Miss Sterling know in the front office as soon as you remember. So that doesn't mean, if you got off the bus in the morning, realized you forgot your phone on the bus or your headphones, they might be on another route when you come and tell us. Or they might not be here till the end of the day when they get ready for their afternoon route. So we will let them know to look for whatever it is that you left, but it might not be an immediate retrieval. Most of the time, if you leave something on the bus, we find it. I don't think I've had anything yet that's been lost, like in a big black hole that we've never found from the bus that has been reported. So usually if you leave it on the bus, we know about it. If it's a lunch, we try to get it before lunchtime, obviously, even if that means Miss Chapman or I have to go out to your bus and look for it. We are happy to do that. But just let us know. It's not a big deal. Happens all the time. But make sure you come and tell Miss Sterling. We will then contact the bus drivers and see if they've seen it or if they see it on the bus. Taking care of our property is really the last point I want to make sure that we talk about. So in the past, we have had instances where there have been drawings on the bus seats or rips on the bus seats created by students, not wear and tear. Someone just thought it would be hilarious to do. And let me tell you what happened. So the drawing on the bus, we had to replace the entire seat cover. The family was charged for that. I have a feeling none of your parents or guardians would be happy to get a call from me saying that they owe us $300 or whatever it is to replace a seat cover on the bus because you were drawing on it. So keep your drawings, on your phone or in a notebook, but do not draw on the bus seats. And any damage done to the bus seats will also be your responsibility. This is a good time to remind you that there are cameras on the bus. We have checked them many times. There is audio and visual, so we can hear what you're saying and see what you're doing. I don't want to have to check bus footage, but I will. And Miss Sipe is pretty all over what her buses look like, what things are wear and tear, and what things have just all of a sudden appeared out of nowhere. So be aware of that and know that we will go and double check. Again, I don't want to do any of these things, but I will if I have to keep our property the way it should be. Now let's talk about the cafeteria. So last year, we got brand new tables in the cafeteria. I love them. I love how they look. So much school spirit happening in there. And Miss Luritzen works really hard to make it a nice place for you to be. Like all of her decorations, she's very seasonally fun with all of that. I love it. So let's talk about a few things that we expect of you in there. Running to get to the lunchroom, we don't need to do that. Nobody is being released in line until everyone gets in there anyway. Walk your body to the lunchroom just like you walk your body to every other class. Respecting the cafeteria staff. I think this is another place that we kind of take them for granted. I mean, they feed hundreds of people in a day, and I don't even like feeding the 3 people that live at my house in a day. So multiple meals. I mean, over the summer, it's I don't know, you can go make yourself some food, right? So they make food for everybody. Another underappreciated job that is essential to you having a successful day at school. Now, whether you pack a lunch or buy a lunch, no matter what, you're going to be kind and respectful to the people who work in there. That's just how we treat people. And so just a friendly reminder about that. Miss Chapman and I both agree that this is a place where there should just be a lot of thank yous, and that's about it. Newer cafeteria tables I already talked about, but we want to make sure we're treating them the right way. It's just, they're our property now. We want them to last a long time. Another friendly reminder that there are cameras in the cafeteria, so we're happy to look up footage If we see anything destroyed or, food thrown, wouldn't be the first time Miss Chapman and I have used a camera to see who started something. We sit down first in the cafeteria and then you are dismissed to the line. It wasn't always that way, but it's much more productive that way and a lot less fighting in the lunch line or people skipping ahead in the lunch line. It just got really messy. So you come into the cafeteria, you take a seat, and then we dismiss you to lunch, the lunch line. Now this year there is a change, right? We talked about it the first day of school, that all of the fruits and vegetables are inside the cafeteria, like where you get the food. That's a state law, so that's how it's going to be. So make sure you grab everything that you want on your way out. There is not assigned seating in the lunchroom. I don't want to have to do that. I will do that if I have to, but you're really the one who decides that. Now, big asterisk, which means there's not assigned seating. However, we are creatures of habit. Human beings are creatures of habit. And so people generally pick their spots and then they sit in that spot just about every day after that, even though it's not an assigned seat. So we are respectful of that. It's like an unwritten rule. You're not going to just sit in someone else's spot. I will ask you to move. It's just, that's the kind thing to do. Once you pick a spot, you stay there for the day. So that doesn't mean the next day you have to sit in that spot. That doesn't mean the day before you sat in that spot. But once you pick a spot on that day, you will stay in that spot. One time, maybe 2 years ago, I had a student ask me and was very adamant about being able to stand up and walk around in the lunchroom. And really the reason we don't allow that is because it just would turn into a lot of chaos. We don't have a cafeteria big enough to accommodate that, where you can just get up and move around and get up and talk and stand up and talk in groups. Our cafeteria is not designed that way. So the expectation is for most of the time you are seated. You do not need permission from me to go get a spoon or a fork or a napkin or throw away your tray or your plate or your garbage. That's something you just get up and do. That's different from elementary school. So in that sense, you have a lot more freedom. But generally speaking, you are spending your time in the cafeteria seated, except for when you're up and you have a purpose for why you're up. Making sure you're cleaning up after yourself. So, I don't know. Why do I have to talk about this? I'm not cleaning up after you, and maintenance is not cleaning up after you. They sweep the floor and do a final wipe down of the tables. I'd like to think by the time we get to junior high and high school, that's a pretty easy job for them. If you make a mess, you clean it up. It's very simple. But that is not the job. If you spill a drink, you are going to go pick it up. I might help you, or maintenance might help you. But overall, it's your job to make sure it's cleaned up before you leave that cafeteria. If this ever becomes an issue, the consequence usually looks like you're doing cafeteria cleanup for a few days or a week. I don't know. It kind of depends on what the situation is. But I'm happy to do that just to reiterate that your mess is not someone else's problem. You're too old for that. Junior high, I will take you out for recess as often as I can. There are some days where it's just cold or windy or rainy. I will bring out, I have a bag of fun stuff for you guys to do. We go out to the playground. I will start this on Monday. I wanted to give you a little while to just kind of reacclimate to the lunchroom and how it works, and where you're going to sit and all those things and how fast you have to eat. But I try to take you out every day that I can, the last 15 minutes of lunch. So that means you have to be pretty diligent about eating your lunch in about 15 minutes if you want to go outside. Now, this is a choice. You don't have to go outside. There will always be one person in the cafeteria for those people that do not want to go. But I am the one who takes everyone out on those days that we can go out. And again, it's a choice for you. but you have to sit down and get eating pretty quickly in order to make that happen. So those are two main areas, bus and cafeteria. I think they are underappreciated as a whole, not just by you guys. I think by us too, as grown-ups in the building. They are essential parts of making everything kind of work. I don't like having hangry students, and I don't like asking parents to have to get people places when they work as well. So bus and cafeteria are really important, and I want us to always be cognizant of that. Okay, that covers bus and cafeteria for this school year. See you on the next one.